Welcome to 24 Hours of Past Summit Preview 2016. We're excited you can join us today for Brian Larson's session, Effective Data Visualization with SQL 2016, Data Near and Far. This 24 Hours of Past event consists of 24 consecutive live webinars delivered by expert speakers from the past community. The sessions will be recorded and posted online after the event. To access any on-demand sessions, please visit 24hoursofpast.com for all session links. My name is Colleen Morrow, and I'll be your moderator for this session. I have a few introductory slides before I hand the reins over to Brian. If you require any technical assistance, please type your question into the question pane located on the right-hand side of your screen, and someone will assist you. This question pane is also where you may ask any questions throughout the presentation. Feel free to enter your questions at any time, and once we get to the Q&A portion of the session, I'll read your questions aloud to the speaker. You're able to zoom in on the presentation content using the Zoom button located at the top of the presentation window. Please note that there will be a short evaluation at the end of the session. Your feedback is important to us, so please take a moment to complete it. It will appear in your browser. I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsors, Microsoft, Idera, and Attunity. In addition, I'd also like to thank our supporting sponsors for this event, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and SQL Sentry. The staging of 24 Hours of Past would not be possible without their generous support. They're the reason why this event is available free of charge. Please make sure you explore everything else PAST has to offer for data professionals. You can join local user groups around the world, special interest groups, find free online resources through our Learning Center, and read up on the latest community news in the Connector newsletter. Next, I'd like to bring your attention to the upcoming PAST Summit. Taking place in Seattle, Washington from October 25th to the 28th, PAST Summit 2016 offers over 200 sessions with world-class data experts. It's the perfect place to network with experts and peers, and you get to meet the Microsoft engineering team behind SQL Server 2016. Save $200 on registration by using the exclusive discount code 24HOP200 before the end of Sunday, September 18th. To find out more, visit pastsummit.com. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Brian Larson. Brian has been at Superior Consulting for almost 20 years and has consulted with Microsoft. He wrote the original SSRS PDF renderer and taught SSRS to the Microsoft department. Brian is the author of Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Services, Microsoft SQL Server 2016 Reporting Services, and Delivering Business Intelligence with SQL Server 2012. And without further ado, here's Brian with Effective Data Visualization with SQL 2016, Data Near and Far.
All right. Thank you, Colleen, and good morning to everyone. We'll turn on the camera here. So hopefully we're coming through. I want to thank all of you for joining me this morning. It is 8 a.m. in the central time zone where I'm located. I know that some of you are farther west, so thank you for making the effort to get up early and tune in. Much appreciated. So I'm going to be doing an all-day session at the PAST Summit that Colleen was just referring to. And that session is the same title, Effective Data Visualization with SQL 2016, Data Near and Far. And that session will be looking at a deep dive into each of the data visualization tools currently in SQL 2016. In our limited time today, what we're going to concentrate on is looking at what's new in data visualization in SQL 2016. And certainly there are a number of very exciting new features in 2016 that we want to take a look at and get you some familiarity with. And we'll look at actually creating some visualizations with each of those tools and how that's done. But we won't have time to do a deep dive like I will be doing out in Seattle in at the end of October. So that's where that is at. All right. So it has been the case with SQL Server that we really had one data visualization tool that we could use with SQL Server, and that was reporting services. That allowed us to create paginated reports, and we've had that in the tool for about 12 years now. Some people might argue that SQL Server Management Studio can be used as a data visualization tool. Yeah, but that's really not what we're talking about here. We're looking at tools specifically designed for visualizing and summarizing and putting that data into the hands of others who are going to be using that for decision making. So reporting services now takes on, in SQL 2016, takes on a couple of different roles. We still have what Microsoft is now referring to paginated reports. This is the traditional operations, the traditional type of output that we could create with SQL Server 2016. Reports that, as the name says, are focused on fitting on a page that can be printed, that can be exported to formats that are paginated, such as a PDF document. They can also be viewed and interacted with on, a standard size computer monitor. And reporting services reports, paginated reports, can be easily integrated into other applications. They can be delivered through email, push technology. In addition to that now, in SQL 2016, still under the reporting services brand, we have another flavor of reports, and that's called the mobile reports. This is technology that came from Microsoft's purchase of DataZen that has been integrated into SQL Server under the reporting services brand name. But mobile reports are created through a separate report authoring environment. They are, at this point in time, separate from paginated reports as far as the authoring environment. They do come together in the same hosting environment that we'll look at in a moment, but they are separate authoring environments. Of course, you can take a paginated report, reporting services report, and you can view that in a browser on a tablet footprint. You could bring it up in a browser on your smartphone, but reporting services reports don't adapt or respond to that change in footprint, and so they're really tough to use in those smaller environments, whereas the mobile reports are designed to be responsive so that they will look great whether you're viewing them on a large screen, whether you're viewing them on a tablet or on a smartphone. The web portal is the next generation, as it says, of Report Manager. What we used to call Report Manager, that website where users would go to find reports, view reports, where we would define subscriptions for push type of delivery of those reports. All of that is now known as the web portal. The Report Manager name is out in 2016. Web portal is in, and that's really a focus on saying that this application can do more than simply manage reports. We want to make this a portal where users will come to gain information about their organization. So first and foremost, we do still have the report repository. That is still probably the main function of the web portal. We can put our paginated reports there, we can put our mobile reports there, and set up security around them so users can access those reports in a secure and convenient manner. And coming soon in the works, and Microsoft has been talking about this, we'll be able to post Power BI reports to the web portal as well and have another on-premises place to store our Power BI reports in addition to the current functionality in the Pyramid on-premises solution. Something else that's new, and the third mechanism for visualizing data now in SQL Server 2016 are key performance indicators that can be created right within the web portal. So again, it's a third user interface, a third mechanism for visualizing data in that web portal, and we'll take a look at those as well. So what's new in reporting services? Now we're specifically talking about the paginated reports within reporting services. So what has been reporting services prior to 2016? What features have been added to that feature set? The report layout now, we can customize our parameter pane. Now, we can rearrange the parameters. We can within a grid. So we're not creating our own custom, UI for parameter entry. We do have some flexibility though, which is nice. In previous versions of reporting services, of course, the parameters would lay themselves out left to right in two columns, top to bottom, and there really wasn't much we could do about that. Now we have a little bit of flexibility along those lines. The default look of visualizations such as charts and gauges has changed. The charts and the gauges themselves are exactly the same. The change is how the parameters of those charts and gauges are set by default to give a certain look. If you've worked with the charting and the gauges, you know that they're tremendously flexible, have hundreds of properties that can be set. And so Microsoft was able to give the charts and the gauges a much more modern look and feel by simply adjusting the default settings for the existing parameters for those items. We have two new chart formats, the tree map and the sunburst. Both of those chart formats are used for looking at multiple levels, multiple breakdowns of a particular measure at the same time. So I could look at deliveries to a certain customer, and then within that I can see how many of those deliveries used a certain type of delivery service level. I can view that at the same time without having to do any type of a drill down or drill through to get that information. On the report output side, all of reporting services now is HTML5 compliant. We've got very strong cross-browser compatibility. If you're using a modern browser, then you're going to be able to use the web portal and you're going to be able to visualize reports without any problem. Printing has been changed. In the past, when you hit the print button within Report Manager, there was a little .NET application that would actually be downloaded and would run behind the scenes to facilitate nicely paginated printing. Now, again, to facilitate that cross-browser compatibility, Reporting Services uses the PDF tool, and so a PDF version of the report is created for you automatically and brought up in the PDF management tool so it can be printed from there. We can also render to PowerPoint now. That is a new rendering output in 2016. And finally, we can take our paginated reports and we can pin them to the Power BI dashboard. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those things here. I'm going to bring up Visual Studio or SQL Server Data Tools, and this should look pretty familiar to anybody who's worked with paginated reports or reporting services in the past. I've got a report created here. I've got a few data sets, and I've got some parameters, 3 parameters for my report. I just have a title, and that's it on my report content right now. But first of all, we can see up here I have a new section, and this is the parameter pane. This is where I can control the layout of the parameters. So if I would rather have the planets parameter down here under month, I can move service type maybe down here as well. Maybe that's the arrangement that I want. If I want to actually have them all 3 one on top of the other, I can move things this way. I can change things around however I want to get that layout that works best for me. So that's the flexibility that we have. So, not a ton of formatting, but at least we can control how things are stacked and the order that things come up. So that's what's available there. Let's go ahead and look at those new visualizations that we have available. We'll go to the toolbox here, and we'll grab a chart and place that on my report. So you look even, you'll notice even here at the select chart type, this screen looks very different. We've got the nice pastel colors and the layout here, reflecting again the more modern look and feel that Microsoft has tried to give these. Over here are our 2 new chart types, the tree map and the sunburst. So we won't take a look at those today, but that's where those are located. So let's go ahead and just do a typical column chart here. You can see that the chart layout is much more simple and clean, fewer lines around the axes. The colors are more muted, and but behind the scenes, it's the same charting tool. So I'm using data here from, as it says, Galactic Delivery Services. This is sample data that I've created for my reporting services book. It's simply an interplanetary delivery service. Yes, I am a frustrated science fiction author. And so Galactic Delivery Services delivers packages between planets, and it has services of same-day delivery and next-day delivery, and because it has faster than the speed of light transport, it has previous day delivery, so that when you actually absolutely have to have it there yesterday, they can do that for you. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. And for this report, we'll just put some data on here from my Galactic data set, some delivery data. We'll look at how many packages were delivered and how many packages were lost in delivery, and we'll do that by customer. And I'm going to tweak one more thing here on my horizontal axis. I'm going to say that my interval must be 1 so that all of my bars are labeled. So let's go ahead and preview that. And I've got my parameter arrangements as I specified. We'll just select everybody here. And there we go. So I can zoom in there a little bit. There's our chart. So again, same chart, just a different, more modern, more streamlined look for us. We can look at the gauge quick as well. Go to the toolbox and we'll grab a gauge and put that down here. And again, you can see very different even right from the selection type. So we'll grab the hemispheric gauge here. And let's look at the number of deliveries. So we'll go ahead and select the delivery count from the data set here. And notice now we don't have a needle, we actually have this bar that's going to traverse our scale. I happen to know that our scale needs to be a little larger than that, so I'm going to up the maximum to 400. And then in the center here, this is actually a label. So if I want this to reflect the value that's being shown on the gauge, I actually need to go into label properties. And right now it's just a fixed bit of text that Data Tools threw out there for me. I'm going to instead have that reflect my delivery count. And let's make sure we add an aggregate there, since we are showing lots of records as one. Click OK, click OK. And if I did things properly, we should see the total number of deliveries reflected there. Select some parameters. And there we go. So, all right. Actually, I see, yep, I don't want the sum there, I want the count. Well, we won't worry about that. Right, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to deploy this to my web portal. I've got my properties set up here. This all looks just the same as it has been in the past, with my ability to set the different folders that things are going in. Even the target URL looks pretty similar, so no big changes there. We'll go ahead and deploy my report. We'll wake things up, and there we go. So now we'll move on to the web portal, and we'll talk more about the web portal in a moment, but you'll see I do have, in amongst a number of items, I do have my paginated reports, and so this is the delivery report that I just created, and we'll go ahead and execute that. Then do note that I am not running Internet Explorer here. I am running Chrome, and because everything is now HTML5 compatible, I can be confident that this is going to work just fine. So, and yes, even though I live in Minnesota, I am a Packer fan. Hope that doesn't offend anybody. But there we go. All right, so run the report here. There's the report that I just created and uploaded. And let's look at a couple of the other new features. As I said, printing is now through PDF. So when I click on the print button, it's going to tell me, it's going to create a PDF for me. I get a chance to set a couple of parameters here. And when I say print, it's going to generate that PDF using that page definition, and it's going to launch the PDF viewer within the browser. And now I can use the PDF viewer to actually print my report in a very nice manner and be sure that that's going to be compatible across all browsers. And we'll go ahead and cancel that. And yep, I'm done with printing. All right, we do have an additional export format. As I said, we can export to PowerPoint. and that will generate a PowerPoint document. One thing you need to be aware of is the format of the PowerPoint document. It's going to be formatted more of a slide for a wide view. So do keep that in mind as you're building reports that you intend to be output in that PowerPoint format. And finally, we can take a visualization from this report and pin it on a Power BI dashboard. And the way we do that is to click on the Power BI icon there, and it's going to ask me what I want to pin to the Power BI dashboard. We'll take our column chart here, so I will select that. And I have configured this web portal to know my Power BI credentials so that it already knows how to connect and talk to my Power BI site. So that is a limitation. One instance of the reporting services can talk to one instance of Power BI with one set of credentials. So there is that tie there. Each user can't post to their own Power BI dashboard at this point without changing the reporting configuration. All right, so, and then notice I've got this frequency of update. What's going to happen behind the scenes is this visualization is going to be rendered, and then that is going to be posted, and a subscription is going to be created as well, and that subscription will rerun the report with that visualization and upload a new copy of that visualization on this schedule. So the data on Power BI stays fresh, but you need to keep in mind this is a push technology, so this subscription is running on whatever schedule you choose and continuing to update that information on your Power BI dashboard. So we'll go ahead and pin, and it says that it was successfully pinned to Power BI. And let's go over here and see if that's the case. I've signed in to Power BI, and I'm on my SSRS visualizations. This is just my name for the dashboard. You can pin to whatever dashboard you want to within your Power BI configuration. And so we'll go ahead and refresh the page. And sure. Oh, sorry. I pinned it over here to this dashboard here, the production sales. So there it is. There's my pinned report. Sorry about that. I pinned it in a different spot than what I was looking for. Notice if I click that visualization, it actually launches the report back within the web portal. So I have almost a drill down type of capability created for me automatically. And I can come over here and click the little ellipses button to manage this, and I'm actually going to delete this item here. I don't want it updating. And I'm also going to come back out here and go, and now to manage a report, we've got the ellipses button. The ellipses button is everywhere. So if I want to manage the properties of this report, I can click Manage. And if I go to subscriptions, you'll see that there has indeed been a subscription created when it comes up here that is publishing to the Power BI dashboard. So we'll go ahead and delete that as well. I don't want that running on my computer every week. Okay. So that is the paginated reports and a little bit on the web portal. Let's move on now to our mobile reports. And I'm going to go back into my Galactic Delivery Services folder here. Mobile reports, let's come back to the slides. So key features of the mobile reports now. Mobile reports have that actually should say responsive rendering, I believe. No, I'm sorry, adaptive rendering. Get the two confused all the time. Adaptive rendering. You will create 3 different layouts of your report, one for a large screen or the master view, one for a tablet, and one for a smartphone type of view. And then the mobile reports visualization tools will choose between those 3 different layouts to present the report in an appropriate manner. This provides, but now that may turn some people off at first blush. What I've got to create the report layout 3 times instead of just 1 time. Well, don't panic until you've seen the tool. The layout process is very streamlined. It goes very quick to create a report, as you'll see in a moment. So having to do 3 layouts is no big deal at all. The other thing to note about mobile reports is there is no query editor within the mobile report publisher, the authoring environment itself. So we create shared data sets and publish those to the web portal, and that's the mechanism we're going to use to get our data for our mobile reports. Key features, we've got a wide variety of visualizations. I can create tables. I've got a number of charts, gauges, and indicators. I can interact. I've got selection lists, a couple different flavors of selection list. I've got a time slicer, which is very cool, and I can create drill through with my mobile reports. So let's go ahead and check that out. Bring up my web portal here. And to create a mobile report, I'm going to go to New and say Mobile Report. Notice here, if I say New Paginated Report, that's going to launch the report builder to create a paginated report right from here. To create my data sets, I can do that right from here, and that will launch Report Builder to create those data sets and new data sources as well. I've got several data sets that I've already created that I'm going to use for my mobile report, so we'll jump right in. And it does give me a nice message that says it's opening the mobile report publisher, and that will come up in a moment here. So here it is. And first we'll look at what I have available for various visualization items. As I said, there's a nice variety. These are my UI selection lists and time navigator, number of gauges, number of charts. I can do mapping. And you can tell that this tool is designed to favor the visualizations, not the the bucket of number columns and rows in grids. That's not going to typically display well in a mobile environment, so they're way down at the bottom here, de-emphasizing those. So I create my report layout here on this grid, and you can see it's just 5 by 10. I can change the grid size a bit, but I don't have a lot of flexibility. And that's the resolution or the granularity I have for my layout. So to create my report layout, I grab an item and put it on the grid, and then I can size it appropriately. So we'll grab a time navigator, we'll grab a selection list, and then I'm going to create a category chart here. All right. Okay, and then down at the bottom, these are the parameters that I have for each of those report layout items. Not a lot. Very different from reporting services, from the paginated version of reporting services. So for my time navigator here, I can specify what levels I want the user to be able to navigate between, down to hours. We'll just leave it at years and months. And And then I have some preset ranges that the user can select from with a single touch. I can choose which of those I want included in my navigation, whether I want a default times range set up for me. There are some preview charts here to try and give a little thumbnail of what I'm going to see when I select a given range. And I can set the format for the numbering that's going to be used there. We're going to look at numbers of deliveries. So we'll leave it as that. And let's see, what else do we need to do here? I think that is about it. So I can choose the visualization, etc. For my drop-down list, I can give it a name. We're going to select various planets from this drop-down list. So we'll call it planets. I am going to allow the user to select multiple at one time, so we'll turn on multi-select, and they can select all with a single click. So that's set up there. For my chart, we'll call it deliveries, and we'll give it a subtitle here. It's going to be by service type. And let's see here, the number format again is going to be the general, because we're just using whole numbers, delivery counts. This is all of the properties that I really have to format that chart. So again, very simple, straightforward. Once I have that layout created, then I can go to my other formats. So that was the master. Now here's the tablet format, and it is designed for a tablet in portrait mode. So we'll create my layout here, and now I only can choose from the 3 items that I chose to put on my master layout. And so that's what it's going to look like if I view it on a tablet. If I come down to a phone type interface, we'll put the time navigator, we'll give that 2 columns of height, and we'll put the delivery chart. And I'm going to choose to leave out the drop-down list. So you do not have to incorporate all of the visual items in your in each of the views. That's up to you to make the most effective user interface. The next thing I do is add data to my report, and we're going to do that here by finding those shared data sets that are already out on the on my web portal. So we're going to get the list of planets here for my drop-down list. So I'll grab that. There's the content of that shared data set. And I'm going to select my planets drop-down list and now associate this data with this particular item in my visualization. So we're going to pull the data from the planets visualization. Notice as I'm doing the layout, it creates these simulated tables for me with just dummy data so that I can see what the layout is approximately going to look like. Now I am getting rid of that simulated data. Notice one disappeared already because I don't need it anymore, and replace it with real data from my shared data sets. All right. So we're going to use, there's only one field in my data set here, so that's what I'm going to use for both of these. And there we go. We'll come back to those in a minute. And then this allows me to choose what I'm filtering with this drop-down list selection. I don't want to filter my simulated table, so we'll get rid of that. All right. So now we'll add another data set to the report. This is going to be my deliveries by service type, planet, and date. Select that. All right. So we'll select my chart, and that data is going to come from the deliveries data now. And our series is going to be based on the service type, which type of delivery, and the number, the type of the bar or the column is going to be based on a count of the delivery numbers, the unique delivery numbers. So that's going to be there. And notice that we are allowing this to be filtered by the time navigator. So we want to do that. So our filter takes effect. All right. I'm going to select the time navigator, and I'm going to, now this is the data that's used for these little thumbnail sample charts. So I want that to come from deliveries as well, and again be a count of the unique delivery numbers. And finally, we're going to go back to the planets drop-down, and we're going to say that this drop-down list is going to filter the deliveries here. All right, so let's go ahead and preview and see if I have everything put together properly. So it's rendering my report. There it is. Number of deliveries for each of my 3 different drop-downs. If I click and hold, then I get a call out. So we don't have a hover over call out here. We actually need to click and hold. Again, this is made for a touch screen type of environment. So I can select what planets I want to include, and again, I've got multi-select, so we'll grab a bunch here, and let's actually grab. Well, and we have the first demo snafu here. The demo gods are not smiling on me this morning, I guess. I'm not sure why that's not coming up, but at any rate, let me show you the time navigator here, and we won't worry about that. I want to show you the features anyway, not the output. So the time navigator, the 2 sliders here allow me to just adjust the range of dates that I'm viewing, and then after I do that, I can adjust, there we go. So this adjusts what I'm looking at. The box here adjusts the actual time frame of data that I am looking at. And again, so I can do any particular range of dates that I like. And again, I've got the quick click to jump to a specific range of items. So that is the mobile report. And I apologize for, I'm not sure why that's not rendering the way it should, but I'm not going to take time to troubleshoot that right now. I do want to show you if I view this in a smaller footprint. I'm sorry, not here. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I can save it to the file system, or I can save it to the server, and we'll call this deliveries 2. And it does default to my Galactic Delivery Services folder on my local server, so go ahead and save that. And that's how we persist that. So I'm going to go ahead and close the mobile report publisher, that authoring environment, and we'll make this message go away. So now if I refresh, I have 2 mobile reports out here when this comes up. And notice it does show a thumbnail of each mobile report, which is kind of nice. We'll actually look at the report that I created in my practice session, because that one actually works. And so here's my planet drop down, and look at that. There we go. Now we've got things working properly. And as I select different date ranges, that's reacting as well. And then the other thing I want to show you is as I change the footprint of the view, I do get the layout to go from the main layout to my tablet layout, and then as I shrink this down even farther, then I get the phone layout. All right, so that is mobile reporting and the mobile report publisher. So finally, the web portal, the key features here, we've got a modern look and feel, again, HTML5 compatibility. We've got that responsive design so that as I change the web portal itself, it also is going to react nicely to smaller footprints. I'm able to brand the web portal, and I have the key performance indicators that I can create. So very quickly, let's go back to my folder here. I'll show you again within the web portal itself, I get responsive reaction here, my menuing changes, and my layout changes so that it's going to look nice on any footprint. Let's see here. The key performance indicators, again, the key performance indicators don't have their own query engine. So I'm going to use shared data sets to create those, and we can look real quickly here. There's simply a single screen that I can use to select data for the value that's being displayed, for the goal, for the status against the goal. Is it good, which is green? Is it okay, which is yellow? Is it bad, which is red? And then I can also choose if I like to show a trend over the last number of time periods. So again, very simplified tool here, but it allows me to put a number of different KPIs that can go right across the top of my portal so that I can show things at a glance and make this truly a data portal, not just a report manager, as the name suggests. If I want to brand this, I'll finish this up real quickly here. For branding, I can change the logo. I can put a logo up here from a logo file, and I can change the colors. And I do this by creating a zip file that creates, or that contains these three items: the logo, a JSON that has the color specifications, and that looks like this. So a JSON document, and we've got the codes for all of the different color items on my web portal, and then a metadata XML file, so you get to do XML and JSON in the same package. And this just says the name of the JSON color file and the name of the graphics file that contains my logo. And so what I can do is go to my settings and site settings and say that I want to brand this particular item. So I'm going to upload a brand package, and there's my zip file that contains those items. So we'll select that and upload it, and it's going to apply that logo and those colors, and isn't that beautiful? I will never lay claim to being a graphic designer, but you can see that we do have the logo in place. We have the colors that I so carefully chose. So we'll quickly remove that branding package, so we go back to our normal display. All right. So that is our branding, and that covers the visualization tools in our reporting services under SQL 2016. So I think we're at the point now where we can take some questions if people have questions.
All right, thanks, Brian. We have a couple of questions, and might I say that color scheme was quite stunning.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that Microsoft had bought a mobile reports company, and some people didn't quite catch the name. Could you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, the name of the company was DataZen.
Okay.
Yeah, the name of the mobile company was DataZen, D-A-T-A-Z-E-N. And that acquisition was only about a year or so ago, so it's very recently. So the development team did a marvelous job of taking that DataZen capability and getting it incorporated into the reporting services environment. And it'll be interesting to see if the mobile report publisher stays a completely separate tool, or if down the road with more time to work on things, if that becomes more integrated between the paginated report authoring environment and the mobile report authoring environment. We'll see how that shakes out.
All right, thank you. Are you conducting or speaking at any SQL Saturdays in the Minneapolis metro area?
I am. I will be speaking at SQL Saturday in Minneapolis, which is coming up. I'm checking the date here. I believe is that the, well, before I guess, let me pull up my calendar here. And that is indeed the 1st of October. So I will be presenting there. And I will be presenting a session on the mobile report publisher.
Okay, great.
So covering that same ground, but in much more detail. And hopefully the demo gods will smile on that mobile report creation a little more.
Okay. Is it possible to brand by subfolder?
It is not possible to brand by subfolder. So if you do want to have multiple brands, if you've got kind of a multiple tenancy, you are going to have multiple instances of the reporting services installed on that server if you want to get a very distinct branding for each. So you can, those KPIs are tied to a particular folder. So you could have different sets of KPIs across different folders, and of course different reports. But the branding itself is across the whole web portal.
Okay. Can mobile reports be created and or edited in Visual Studio?
The answer is no. Mobile reports cannot be created or edited within Visual Studio, and that's, again, I think part of that is a sign of how quickly the DataZen functionality was pulled into reporting services. But, and again, I don't know how tightly Microsoft is going to choose to couple those, if it will end up in Visual Studio or if they'll keep it as its own separate kind of browser-based, browser-launched tool. We'll see on that.
All right. So for mobile devices, do you have to design for iPad, Android, and Windows, or is that all one?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So no, you do not need to design for each. So the only considerations we're using as we're creating our mobile reports is the different footprints that we want to display on. And then those visualizations can be brought up in a browser that's HTML5 compatible on any of those devices, or we can use the Power BI visualization mobile app and pull up the mobile reports in that native app on Android or on the Apple devices. So we've got either way. We can use browser, HTML5, we can use the Power BI mobile app, to actually have a native app environment for displaying those mobile reports.
Okay. What's the minimum version of Visual Studio and Data Tools required for SSRS 2016 offering?
It's going to, boy, certainly recommended is Visual Studio 2015, and I believe that is the minimum, but I couldn't swear to that off the top of my head. And now you can get, as in the past, you can load data tools without having a Visual Studio license. It's even more robust these days, as you can use the community version of Visual Studio and then add the data tools project types, the SQL Server project types on top of that, and get a very nice functionality from Visual Studio.
Right. Are reports created in an older version of SSRS still compatible with 2016?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if any of your reports from an older version of reporting services, you simply open those up in a project, in the current SQL Server data tools, or deploy those to a 2016 server, and you're going to be good to go.
Was anything in today's demos Enterprise Edition only?
Mobile reporting. So that is an Enterprise Edition feature.
Okay. And how will Power BI affect or interact with 2016, SSRS 2016?
So I touched on this, but I kind of flew past it quickly. Microsoft has announced that they are currently working on the ability to take a Power BI report and deploy it to a reporting services on-premises web portal. So current released functionality, you can use the Pyramid on-premises BI tool to host Power BI visualizations. That functionality will be coming in the report, the web portal. I don't have any inside knowledge on time frame. I believe it will be fairly soon. It's going to be either delivered as a service pack or as an interim release of some type. But that will be available, and the level of support, can data models be deployed and refreshed in the web portal, or will it just be the visualization side? Those types of things I don't know, and I'm sure Microsoft is probably still working out some of those details as they're going through the implementation process.
Okay. And one last question, because we're pretty much out of time. Is there any system log for mobile reports for usage statistics or query performance tuning?
That's a great question. I believe that they are logged in the web portal logs just like any other report, but I have to admit I have not gone and actually checked that out and confirmed that, but I believe they're logged in the same way, and I'll have to confirm that as well for a future presentation. Sorry, I don't know that one off the top of my head.
Not a problem. All right, well, thank you, Brian. So that concludes this session. Please make sure to stay tuned for our next session, Dr. DMV, how to use DMVs to diagnose performance problems with Glenn Berry. And have a great day.
All right, thanks, everyone.